Good morning. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Fort Myers, in person and online. Inspired by love, we transform ourselves and serve others. My name is Lesley Peterson, and it's my privilege to serve this congregation as the Vice President for Worship and as a worship associate. This morning, I'm pleased to be sharing the chancel with Reverend Sue Gabriel, live in person with us. Also joining us is our Director of Music, John Dalton, and Jeff Letts on the organ, and our small but mighty choir. I'd also like to give thanks to our amazing tech team who make it possible for us all to come together into this hybrid service. They do so much more than you know behind the scenes to make all of this possible. And I'm very grateful for their hard work and dedication. Here at UUCFM, one of the ways we seek to grow in love is by fostering a climate of purposeful inclusion and safety for all people, regardless of race, ethnicity, age, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, spiritual path, or national origin. You are all welcome here with us. Lee County and our beautiful campus sit on the land originally occupied by the Calusa tribe. We honor them, as well as the Miccosukee and Seminole, who continue to care for these South Florida lands. I'd like to extend a special welcome to our guests this morning. If you haven't filled out a connection card, you will be able to get one after the service at the greeters table. If you do have one, please put it in the bags that the greeters are going to pass around during the offertory. If you're joining us online, I'd like to invite you to complete an online connection card, and that link will be made available in the chat box. The most important gift that you can give us is the chance to get to know you. Members may use the card for a change in contact information or a caring concern that you'd like our pastoral care team to address. If you are attending by Zoom, please keep your microphone muted and refrain from placing chat messages in the chat window unless asked to do so. And now, let us begin our service.
Good morning. Our opening words are by Thich Nhat Hanh. People usually consider walking on water or in thin air a miracle. But I think the real miracle is not to walk either on water or in thin air, but to walk on earth. Every day we are engaged in a miracle which we don't even recognize. A blue sky, white clouds, green leaves, the black, curious eyes of a child, our own two eyes, all is a miracle.
And now we come to the time in the service that we share together in lighting our chalice. And this connects us with Unitarian Universalists all over the world who do this during their morning services. Our chalice lighting words are going to include some by a favorite author of mine. He is a Middle Eastern poet from the Middle Ages called Omar Khayyam. And these are words from his work, The Rubaiyat. I sent my soul through the invisible, some vision of that afterlife to spell. And by, my soul returned to me and said that I am heaven and hell. A book of verses underneath the bough, a jug of wine, a loaf of bread, and thou, beside me, singing in the wilderness, and wilderness is paradise enamel. We light this chalice to find inner peace, love for each other, and faith in ourselves. Also, to be welcoming to whomever we meet, and kind to all loving creatures. So gather round this light of hope as we share this time together. And now I would like to invite you to rise in body or spirit as we recite together the words of our covenant.
Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Our opening hymn can be found in your gray hymnal or on the screen. It's number 338, I Seek the Spirit of a Child. Please be seated.
Now we come to the time in our service to share a story for all ages. I'm going to come down here and get a little bit closer to everyone. And I would like to invite all those who are here who are young or young at heart to come down and join me. Thank you. Don't be shy. If you want to come down, you can come down. Come on, Ian. Come on, Dorothy. Thank you. The story that I'm going to share with you is called Frederick, and it's by Leonni. All along the meadows where the cows grazed and the horses ran, there was an old stone wall. In that wall, not far from the barn and the granary, a chatty family of field mice had made their home. But the farmers had moved away. The barn was abandoned, and the granary stood empty. And since winter was not far off, the little mice began to gather corn and nuts and wheat and straw. They worked all day and all night. All except Frederick. Frederick, why don't you work? They asked. I do work, said Frederick. I gather sun rays for the cold, dark winter days. And then when they saw Frederick sitting there, staring at the meadow, they said, and now, Frederick? I gather colors, answered Frederick simply, for winter is gray. Can't argue with that. And once Frederick seemed half asleep. Are you dreaming, Frederick? They asked reproachfully. But Frederick said, "No, I'm gathering words, for the winter days are long and many, and we'll run out of things to say." The winter days came, and when the first snow fell, the 5 little field mice took to their hideout in the stones. In the beginning, there was lots to eat, and the mice told stories of foolish foxes and silly cats. They were a happy family. But little by little, they had nibbled up most of the nuts and berries. The straw was gone, and the corn was only a memory. It was cold in the wall, and no one felt like chatting. Then they remembered what Frederick had said about the sun rays and the colors and the words. "What about your supplies, Frederick?" they asked. "Close your eyes," said Frederick as he climbed on a big stone. "Now I send you the rays of the sun. Do you feel their golden glow?" And as Frederick spoke of the sun, the 4 little mice began to feel warmer. What was Frederick's voice? It was magic. "And how about the colors, Frederick?" they asked anxiously. "Close your eyes again," Frederick said. And when he told them of the blue periwinkles, the red poppies and the yellow wheat, and the green leaves of the berry bush, they saw the colors as clearly as if they had been painted in their minds. "And the words, Frederick?" Frederick cleared his throat, waited a moment, and then, as if from a stage, he said, "Who scatters snowflakes? Who melts the ice? Who spoils the weather? Who makes it nice? Who grows the 4-leaved clovers in June? Who dims the daylight? Who lights the moon? 4 little field mice who live in the sky, 4 little field mice like you and I. One is the spring mouse who turns on the showers. Then comes the summer who paints in the flowers. The fall mouse is next with walnuts and wheat. And winter is last with cold little feet. Aren't we lucky the seasons are 4? Think of a year with 1 less or 1 more." When Frederick had finished, they all applauded. "But Frederick, you are a poet." Frederick blushed, took a bow, and said shyly, "I know it."
Our reading this morning is a poem by Anne Sexton entitled "Welcome Morning." There is joy in all. In the hair I brush each morning, in the cannon towel, newly washed, that I rub my body with each morning. In the chapel of eggs I cook each morning. In the outcry from the kettle that heats my coffee each morning. In the spoon and the chair that cry, "Good morning." In the Godhead of the table that I set my silver plate and cup upon each morning. All of this is God, right here in my pea-green house each morning. And I mean, though I often forget, to give thanks. To faint down by the kitchen table in a prayer of rejoicing as the holy birds at the kitchen window peck into their marriage of seeds. So while I think of it, let me paint a thank you on my palm for this God, for this laughter of the morning, lest it go unspoken. Because the joy that isn't shared, I've heard, dies young.
Every Sunday we join together in a ceremony that we call the Stones of Intention. If you have a stone with you this morning, I invite you to hold that stone in your hand, close to your heart. During the musical meditation, come forward to place your stone in the bowls with others that symbolize this extended, beloved community. Allow your stone to symbolize your intentions, reflections, prayers, joys, sorrows, or milestones in your life. If you have not already brought a stone with you into the sanctuary, you may choose one from the baskets next to the bowls of sand. For those of you joining us on Zoom or listening to the audio stream, you may also place a virtual stone of intention by clicking the green button on the church website's weekly order of worship. The direct link will be provided in the Zoom chat box. Remember, whether you are here with us in the sanctuary or attending virtually, we are all participating in community with each other. And now let us begin.
place one last stone for all that remains in our hearts. May we be mindful of the power of love and of community to heal and to uphold life. Let us join our hearts in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Holy is this place. Holy are the places of change and pain, those places of our struggle, where the rivers of our lives run fast, but we hold on. We hold on and grow. Holy are the places of change and pain. Holy are the places of connection, the places where we risk ourselves, where hands, touch souls, touch minds, and in awareness still, we change our lives. Holy are the places of connection. Holy are the places of becoming, the places of clear vision, where life and world are intertwined and we can see forever in this moment, and we can do nothing but give thanks. Holy are the places of becoming. Blessed be and amen. I'd invite you to stay seated and sing with me reflectively hymn number 1. May nothing evil cross this door. During the many years of seminary, and there are many, too many, I learned about 4 scholars who all have definitions of the sacred that are slightly different. Vanderloo says that the sacred is omniscience. It's God, the ultimate and supreme being, or heaven. Emil Durkheim said that the sacred is found in religious rituals, in objects, even humans that are revered. It's found by going to church, embarking on pilgrimages, religious shrines, even what we may consider profane locations, like visiting Gettysburg and standing in the fields. Carl Jung would say that the sacred is found in universal archetypes, the collective unconscious. He would say that that sacred manifests itself in sunrises, in the birth of a baby, in nature, in our relationships, universally understood, with no barrier of language or race or ethnicity or location. My favorite is Rudolf Otto, who talks about the concept of the numinous, that the sacred is something that attracts you and repels you at the same time. It's that feeling you get when you're on the edge of a cliff, wanting to look down, but scared at the same time. It's what compels children to want to enter a drain pipe when they're playing. It's dark and scary, and yet there's a bit of being compelled to enter. How could you not, right? It's that threshold between worlds that creates a moment of sacredness. So there's all different ways that we understand what we hold sacred. And I would say there are as many ideas as there are people in this room right now. And depending on how we understand the sacred determines how much we'll encounter it. If your idea of the sacred is only in one temple, in one country far away, it's likely you may not find it too often. But if your understanding of the sacred is found simply in the presence of the natural world, or in relationships, or in how we are with one another, then the sacred is abundantly around us. It is different for all. It is different in different cultures and religious traditions, ethnic backgrounds. We hold different things sacred. The idea of the sacred also changes for us over time. That which we held sacred as a young person may be very different from what we now hold sacred in our adult worlds. What was once sacred for us may now feel very ordinary. So how do you discover the sacred? What is it that you feel compelled to know as wholly other? There are some times in our lives where we can't find it. It's just not there. Those moments of impatience. I've experienced a few of those just in the last couple of days. Trying to hold the dichotomy of the miracle of flight and the frustration of Southwest Airlines at the same time. Sometimes our eyes are closed to that which is sacred. And so we need reminders. We need reminders, and thankfully they are abundant, no matter how you have come to define the sacred in your world. There are visual aids, symbols, those symbols that help us recreate that feeling when we know the sacred is present. These symbols allow us to transport ourselves through time and space and return more holy. Holy, not just H-O-L-Y, but return more holy, W-H-O-L-L-Y, as whole beings. What are the holy symbols in your lives? Some of them are hanging around your neck something that you find important and holy and symbolic. As Unitarian Universalists, we hold the image of the chalice, which is all around the sanctuary, as holy. There are very profane symbols as well that transport us to the holy. Maybe your Red Sox or Twins hat that you put on moves you to a place of being at that very special game, or in that moment when magic was created at the ballpark. I have a Red Sox moment like that. When my dad took me to my first Red Sox game and Carl Yastrzemski hit his 3,000th hit and the game stopped. And we celebrated what was an athletic miracle. But we celebrated with thousands of people all unified in this moment of joy. Sometimes it's a smell that transports you back to a place, a smell of a food or a candle of your grandmother's home, some aroma that moves you in a way that you can't quite understand why it was so powerful. National Geographic captures those moments in pictures. You can't open a National Geographic without being transported to the moment in a person's world that might be miraculous or tragic. So photos move us. There are events as well, beyond symbols, accidental as well as purposeful, that help remind us, help ground us, help us to take that sacred pause. When you see a rainbow, how many people can see a rainbow and not stop and look at what is the miracle of the light through moisture to create these amazing colors? It could be a sunrise or a sunset, encounters with children, the pure joy of laughter, uncontrolled laughter that transports you. It might be coming to this congregation and placing a stone. It's not always in a doing, but more in the awareness. We often walk a balance being between our busyness and our work and our doing, and for better or worse, sometimes we lose the quietness of our awareness. But there is value in both. As Frederick taught us in our story today, there is value in both. Thoreau wrote in Walden, "Why should we live in such a hurry and waste of life?" He said, "We are determined to be starved before we are hungry." He would say that those mice were determined to be starved before they were hungry, wanting and doing just for the sake of it, not because there's a genuine need, and certainly not with the slowness required to discover the sacred, or in Frederick's case, the poetry. Discovering the sacred reminds us of our reading this morning, where we find it in small places, as well as the awesome. Evoked by emotions or events or memories, provoked by symbols and smells and touches. But in the end, it is within our own beings to know the sacred. We can cultivate it, or we can ignore it. It can be squashed by others. But if we can maintain our awareness It is always around us. We are responsible for discovering the sacred each and every day by being aware, by having our spiritual disciplines that help us access the sacred, by surrounding ourselves with great people and paying attention to our relationships, by making sure the symbols and photos and smells and rituals that reconnect us to the sacred are present in our lives. That may just include showing up here once a week. Because sometimes the sacred gets squashed by politics, by busyness, by your boss, by people who are not aligned with your way of thinking. And so it is our responsibility to do those things that help us rediscover and remember. By slowing down, by living deliberately, by giving of ourselves, by recognizing the sacred within. Perhaps if we can even go so far as to understand that we are all holy beings, each and every one of you is sacred. Each and every one of you is a manifestation of that which is holy. Sometimes it's obscured by our regular world, the profane world. It's desecrated, demolished by our society, but it's always there. Part of the Quaker tradition that I love is that they honor the light within each person. It is the sacred. It is the sacred still waiting to be discovered and honored. Maybe this connection to the sacred, to this holy, is what will ultimately bring us peace as individuals and as a community. Maybe it is the discovery that everything is holy and sacred is what will change our world. And it turns out that everything is holy. I'd invite you during our offering to listen closely to the words of the song that the choir and John will present. The title is Everything is Holy Now.
And so that brings us to the time for our offering. One of the ways that we live our spiritual values in this world is by making them real through the form of a financial contribution. I invite you to enliven your commitment to this community and be generous in giving to support the work of this congregation. Every month, we also donate funds to a community organization in Lee County. Our community sharing partner this month is Southwest Florida Voices. Southwest Florida Voices is an inclusive, LGBTQ+ friendly, mixed gender chorus. They welcome all voice parts. And so do we, by the way, if you're interested in joining the choir. With no audition requirement, and you do not need to know how to read music. With them, you can learn the art of singing different types of music with a full and small group ensemble, as well as solo and instrument opportunities. The group's name was changed in 2019 from the Southwest Florida Gay and Lesbian Chorus to Southwest Florida Voices, to be more inclusive to the LGBTQ community and their allies. Their mission is to provide educational, cultural, and social enrichment for their audience and themselves through excellence in the choral arts. During the offertory, please place your connection card and offering in the bag, or you may follow the link that will be provided in the chat box. The morning offering will now be generously given and gratefully received.
When I was a boy each week, on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. And he would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread. And everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Learn about the time Moses split the sea in two and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad, miracles don't happen still. Now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. One from watering roots so small, and that a miracle is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding when there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips. But now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, having second-rate hand-me-down. But now I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. A questioning child's face, say it's not a testament, and it's very hard to say. See, another new morning come, say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood and saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out how things have changed since then, and everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, hacking 7 men hand me down. But now I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything is holy now.
Please body or spirit as we receive our offering with our words of gratitude. By the work of our hands and the work of our hearts, our love is made real. May we be grateful for all that is given and grateful for all that is shared. We'll now extinguish our chalice with the words on your screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. It's always very hard to extinguish the chalice. It may be a miracle, but we're going to try to end a little early today because it's a big church day, big congregational activity day. We've got lots going on. But let us join together in our closing hymn first. It's number 128, For All That Is Our Life. Our closing words are by Richard Rohr. There are not sacred and profane things, places, and moments. There are only sacred and desecrated things, places, and moments. And it is we alone one holy and sacred universe, and we are all a part of it.
Thank you for joining us this morning. I'd like to remind our congregation members that the annual meeting will take place immediately following the service, right here in the sanctuary. So please don't go anywhere. Please remain seated during the postlude. If you are joining us on Zoom, please stay online for the annual meeting. And if you are a visitor, you are free to leave if you wish. But there will be a potluck in Hobart Hall, and that will be immediately following the meeting, and you are most welcome to join with us. We are more than happy to share with you and to get to know you better. We love visitors. So whatever you decide to do, I wish you a beautiful Sunday.
And don't be scared. I've heard that these annual meetings are miraculously short.